This is Christine Derby Quadrato from the Barker Historical Museum. We're on 7 Day Street in Fredonia, New York, and we are here today with Mr. Marshal Seddon. Mr. Seddon, when is your date of birth?
I was sure going to ask me that. December 10th, 1923.
Okay. And what is your current address?
The water is at, what's the name of the town?
Westfield, New York.
Okay. And what war did you serve in?
Second World War.
Okay. And which division, or which branch of the service did you serve in?
Air Corps.
Air Corps. And what was your highest rank?
First Lieutenant.
First Lieutenant. Did you win any medals?
Yes, I got
Win is the
two.
wrong word, sorry. Were you awarded any medals?
Yes. And I was given the medals. I was Distinguished Flying Cross was the highest medal,
Mm-hmm.
and 5 air medals, and 2 unit citations, presidential unit citations, and the usual European theater ribbon, and all the usual stuff like Asian theater, and you got a ribbon for whatever theater you happen to be in. You didn't have to be doing anything in that particular theater, but you were participating in that theater, and that was enough.
How many oak leaf clusters did you get?
Well, I had oak leaf clusters, yes. I had 5 air medal clusters, and there were, I don't know, there were several oak leaf clusters on the various medals and so forth. The Distinguished Flying Cross, which is the highest rank that the Air Corps had. I didn't have any oak leaf clusters on that, but I mentioned the air medals. I had 5 oak leaf clusters on the air medal, which was the next highest rank.
Okay.
And what else? I don't know. I could talk on to forever. All depends on how much time you want to spend.
Well, how about if you start with telling us how were you enlisted, drafted? How about if you begin at the beginning of your story?
I took a competitive examination for Air Corps cadets and got appointed to the Air Corps and spent a year and a half in training, 6 months at Syracuse, and then went to gunnery school, got my gunnery wings there, and I spent a year and a half in training, and then went on from there, went to gunnery school, and I got my gunner's wings, and went on from there. I'm sorry if I'm a little disjointed. I'm trying to cover the main things.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were assigned a unit, and I was assigned 1 unit, and that unit was due to competitive bombing records, I was pulled out of that unit and assigned to another unit. And as a matter of fact, all the members of the crew were pulled out of previous units and put into a lead bombardier group. And which meant basically that you were the best in your class. And I was very mad, and because I made friends with all of them, and then they went on, and I complained, but it didn't do any good. And when we got overseas, the crew that I had been pulled off of went on the first mission and was shot down, and everyone killed in that mission. So I guess I was pretty lucky. And anyway, from there, to mention a few, bombed Tokyo half a dozen times, and Nagoya, Osaka, never bombed Hiroshima, because that was the sacrosanct city that you didn't touch. As it turned out, I decided that what they wanted a pristine city to drop their toy on, and that was the atom bomb. And they dropped it to explode, 600 feet above ground level, and see how many people were killed. Now, as it turned out, they wiped out the city, and they killed something like 80,000 people with the one bomb. And then they bombed Nagasaki, which was a true military target, because that was where they made the bombs and munitions, all the steel plants and everything. And so that was a legitimate target. Let's see what else.
What's your most vivid memory?
Pardon?
What's your most vivid memory?
The most vivid memory was seeing Tokyo burn. Block after block after block. We used cluster bombs, high explosive cluster bombs, which were not pretty. And but you'd see entire blocks of cities. Tokyo was a city of 7 million people, and their estimated casualty rate was 7 million casualties, which meant that there weren't many people left to be lost casualties. People, I later learned out that they went underground. The cluster bombs, napalm, would use up all the air. Would burn the air, so there was no relief anywhere from it. If they went underground, the air above would be used up, and so you had no relief. You could go down underground, but it wouldn't do you any good. If you went in a swimming pool or canal or any of that. It was a matter of the water boiling and killing the people that were subjected to it. And this was, again, premeditated. Curtis LeMay was a general of the 20th Air Force at the time, and he never went on a mission. He went on one mission, but they had low oil pressure on the plane he was on, so he ordered them to turn around and go back to base, and which they did. And the low air pressure, oil pressure, was something that we all had every mission. We all were subjected to that, but you went on anyway. But good old Curtis was not going to be subjected to that, so he turned around and went back under orders and landed at the base in Tinian. And so Curtis LeMay was never went on a mission. One of the ironic part of it is I went on 29 missions, and one of the missions was mining the waters of the inland sea and dropping mines with tor packs in them. And they were the highest explosive until the atomic bomb that they had. And they were sonic mines, which meant that they had to be exploded or tripped in a certain series. For instance, a destroyer, cruiser, battleship, aircraft carrier, going over in succession. Mm-hmm. And then the last one on the list would be the one that was blown up from the explosion. And it was the sound of the propellers of the ships going over that triggered the whole thing. And so they were somewhat we call paddle pushers, who were not Air Corps, who did not normally go on a mission, but decided that they wanted to go on a mission in order to get qualified for an air medal. As you could get a mission with air medal with one mission. And so anyway, a whole bunch of them jumped on board to qualify for an air medal. And I think it was 6 of them that were shot down and killed because they were waiting for us. They knew we were coming, and they were waiting for us in the mines. Like I say, they were sonic mines that would blow up given a certain sequence. And so there were something like 6 that were killed in those missions. They were supposed to be safe missions. And we never lost a member of the crew. Part of it, I like to think, was because of my presence. I almost got killed one time because the bomb bay doors didn't close. They were automatic, they'd come. They'd open automatically, close automatically. And when they closed automatically, they lapsed. Well, they closed, but the latch was defective. So it wouldn't close, which meant that bombing over Tokyo, you didn't get back. If you didn't get back, you'd be shot down or crash at sea with no survivors. And I was the bombardier, so it was my job to take care of any unforeseen eventualities like that. It wasn't supposed to happen. So I went back and climbed out the bomb bay door and hung on to a stanchion handhold. And when I did that, the slipstream blew me out parallel with the ground, with nothing under my feet but 20,000 feet or so of empty air. And so anyway, I had to jump down, climb out, jump down, and activate the catch with my foot. So I'm hanging on to nothing practically with the my body dangling in the air. And when that happened, the slipstream just blew me out parallel to the ground. And I'm hanging on with one hand and yelling for the radio operator, radar operator to grab me and pull me in. And like I said, there was nothing except empty space underneath me. And that is what I should have gotten the air medal for. And a couple of times later, things like that happened, and I should have gotten Oakley clusters for the air medal, but I had to give the air medal to Curtis LeMay because he was Brigadier General, I think Brigadier. No, he was Major General, I think, at the time. And he deserved the air medal and air medal more than I did. So anyway, I didn't get it for that, and should have. They were on the racks. The bombs were hung on racks, and when the bomb was released automatically through the system, when the bomb dropped, then the rack would not go with it, and the bomb would be hung up in the rack, armed, highly explosive. And so that meant that if you, at some point on the way back, 800 miles flying over the ocean, it could go off, or more likely go off when you landed. the shock of it would drop it, and the whole crew blown to smithereens. And so anyway, I went back. There was a small catwalk about 6 inches wide that I had to find my way back through there. And anyway, I got back through there single-handedly freed the bomb rack, so I dropped the bomb in the rack out of the plane. And again, it was about 6 inches wide and nothing underneath but empty air. And oh, let's see, what else can I tell you exciting?
What kind of plane did you fly?
Pardon?
What kind of plane?
B-29, which was the newest and the best plane they ever built. Everything was automatic. It was, the bomb sight was automatic. You moved the sight head, which was independent, and the guns would follow that sight head movement. And I was being the bombardier, I was in command of 650 caliber machine guns, and the guns would move along wherever I pointed them. And let's see, what it was. One mission we had 200 Jap planes attack us. And the only thing we never had any fighter escort. They tried to send fighter escort, but they didn't have the range to make it to the Empire and back. So that kind of flunked. And anyway, they would, a fighter escort, if they didn't get back, would go in the ocean, and that would be the end of them, because they never recovered any of them from the mission that crashed at sea. And we had, incidentally, an average of 5 planes out of our group that crashed into the sea on every mission. And none of them ever recovered. They just exploded or just crashed into the sea, and that was the end of them. So it was not a pleasant sight to see, or very nice to witness, or even be part of. They call it an incidental operational loss, because once you went into the sea, you were done. You know, everybody was killed. Because when we take off, we had about a 50-foot high cliff at the end of each runway. You'd have to, the pilot would have to immediately pull the wheel back and then forward to pick up airspeed, and then hopefully rise above that critical level before you were a casualty. And again, none of them ever recovered. the operational loss they were always just exactly that, operational losses. But that sounded better than casualties. And let's see, do you have any questions, Paula?
I was kind of curious about lifestyle. You know, when you weren't flying, where were you living, and what was the food like, and what kind of music did you listen to?
What kind of missions did you listen to?
Yeah, what was your lifestyle like when you weren't?
Well, the one we most listened to is 50 Rose, welcoming us to Japan, naming the crew by name, because they knew we were coming. LeMay saw to that, because he would broadcast a number of missions we were going to fly that week, and what cities we were going to hit. And so they'd be waiting for us, and waiting with everything they had. And one mission where they had 200 planes waiting, fighter planes waiting for us, we got hit with some air-to-air white phosphorus bombs, which the plane had come in, fighter plane had come in high and pull up and throw the bomb out at our plane. And when they did that, that was among the 200 planes that they threw up against us. And when they threw the bomb out, then hopefully for them, it would hit our plane and hopefully burn us. And this one mission over Uvalde, they used the air-to-air phosphorus bombs, and we counted the holes when we got back on the ground, and we had over 200 holes in the plane. And they retired the plane. We used up 3 airplanes on our mission that they just scrapped. Why it never happened, I don't know, but there was a hole that big in the wing fuel tank. And there was a white phosphorus, piece of white phosphorus bomb, as big as my fist. It went into the tank, and that was supposed to explode the tank and the wing and the airplane. But why it didn't, I don't know. It never did. And that was over 200 holes in the airplane, and they retired the plane when that happened. And fortunately, they didn't retire us. Or unfortunately, I don't know. We lost, at the end of the war, we lost, what was it? We had 16 crews in a squadron, and we lost over 15 crews. Due to enemy fire or operational losses, over 15 crews. We luckily were not lost on that. We landed at Iwo Jima a couple of times, and on the way back, because we had maximum bomb load on that mission, and we didn't have enough fuel to bomb and make it back to Tinian. And that was after Iwo Jima was declared safe to land on. And anyway, they were still shelling it from Mount Suribachi. They had a rifle that they'd run out of the top of the mountain and shoot at any of the planes that were on the ground. But they missed us every time. And we had to stay overnight there, and that was a close call, because, there weren't too many survivors in the early days that landed there and got off scot-free. But we did. And, Iwo Jima was another thing that never should have happened, because the May offered to bomb Suribachi and Iwo Jima out of existence, and could have done it with the planes we had and the accuracy we had. But they said, who was it? Mad Dog Smith was the commander of the Marine Force. He said, no, we'll secure Iwo Jima within 24 hours, which of course they never did. I forget the exact length of time now, but we flew over it when they were fighting on it. And needless to say, if we had been shot down there, would have been the end of this. And anyway, unfortunately, there were a lot of, we were not casualties involved in the war. Now you've been doing all the talking. Do you have any questions?
What was it like when you came home? Did you just try to get on with life, or did you have to deal with some of the things you experienced, or was there a parade?
Oh yeah, they played. We came home when we went to Hawaii for rest and recuperation after our 29th mission, and stayed there for well over a month. And then they sent us home in a baby aircraft carrier as passengers on the aircraft carrier, which took 6 days to sail from Honolulu to San Francisco. And when we came in sight of the Brooklyn Bridge, not the Brooklyn Bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge, they had the bands out playing, shooting fire hoses in the air to welcome us, and all that stuff. And we landed at Angel Island in San Francisco Bay, and then transferred to Dayton Island to San Francisco for a couple of days, and had a little brief vacation top of the Mark, which was a big hotel at the time. And anyway, we were welcomed as heroes there, and then we landed in San Francisco, transferred to the plane, and rode the train east to, what was it? I was trying to think of the name of the town, a small town in the Midwest, and learned that disembarked there and spent a day or two, and then took off at Ware and went east and embarked on trains and went to San Francisco, and San Francisco to eventually to Buffalo, and then caught a train, transferred there to a train, took us to Buffalo, and then rode a bus from Buffalo to Lockport, which is where I lived at the time. And Glenn Miller, Benny Goodman were the two kings at the time. Glenn Miller was Sweet Swing, and Benny Goodman was Hot Swing. And they were the two most popular bands at the time. And let's see what else.
What were your living quarters like? Where you lived, what were your living quarters like?
Overseas, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it started out, it was a squad tent, and then they built Quonset huts, and quartered us in the Quonset huts. And have you seen Quonset huts?
That was my next question.
Well, they're dome-shaped like that, and they're made of aluminum. And when it was safe, they brought in the troops and put up the Quonset huts. We had several supposed attacks on us by the Japanese. Whether it was or not, I don't know. That was in the period when Roosevelt died. And kind of a shame that he didn't die 3 years earlier. Because the whole thing, as far as I was concerned, was engineered by Roosevelt and Churchill. Roosevelt is on record as assuring Churchill that the United States would enter the fray on the side of the English, which we did, but we didn't know that at the time. And they knew the Japanese were going to attack. We had broken the code and told them exactly where they were going to attack, which was Pearl Harbor, and when they were going to attack. They had ample warning to tell us when they were going to attack, and that's why over 1,000 men were killed in the attack on Pearl. And strangely enough, before the attack was launched, the only aircraft carriers at Pearl were 250 miles south of Pearl Harbor, which meant that they were safe would never become a casualty. And their main objective with the Japanese to sink the aircraft carriers, because they knew that it would be a battle of aircraft carriers and not battleships. Battleships were unimportant to, big in headlines and everything, but really unimportant. And the only battleships there, like the Arizona, which was sunk, were sacrificed for the sake of the Japanese having something to take away from the battle, or not battle because we had nothing there. And as a matter of fact, 2 or 3 days later they hit the Philippines, and in the Philippines MacArthur was in charge, and during that time he had the planes lined up on the runway in neat, orderly fashion, and the Japanese just wiped them all out, because they were obsolete planes anyway. But they were sacrificed to the gods of war, and they didn't care that people would be killed. Like there were Pearl, there was over 1,000 killed, and they never had any warning that the Japanese were coming. And they knew, they tracked them, because of breaking the code, they tracked them all the way from the inland sea in Japan, in a semicircular, what we called a rum line, which is the shortest distance between 2 points that follows the curvature of the earth. And so they knew every maneuver they had anticipating a Japanese attack was that the Japanese would attack, and they would attack Pearl Harbor. And we picked them up in the inland sea, their radio traffic, and followed them all the way from the inland sea to just outside of Pearl Harbor. And that's why they had such a resounding success. But they were overconfident because they didn't follow up that success. If our commanders had not been asleep at the switch, they would have wiped out the Japanese Air Force at that same time. But they didn't, because the Japanese broke off the attack, did not continue the attack, and destroyed the fuel depots at Pearl. And that's why it was such a limited success for the Japanese. The Japanese attack was planned by Yamamoto, the Japanese super admiral, and he wanted to pursue it, and they were ready to pursue it with another attack and wipe out the gasoline depots at Fort Pearl, but they didn't. And The reason they didn't was that they were afraid of massive retaliation, which of course they would have had, but Pearl Harbor had nothing left. With 1,000 men killed and the Air Force wiped out, they had nothing to strike back at. If they had, they could have wiped out the Japanese or seriously crippled the Japanese at Pearl Harbor. But they didn't do that. The missions were anywhere from 12 to 16 hours long, and that didn't include prepping for the mission. And as bombardier, I had to supervise the loading and the arming of the bombs. And one time I remember I had to send a whole load of 50 caliber machine gun bullets back to the depot because they were all rusty. And they didn't like that at all. They said, we're not taking off. We're not taking off with that crap in our guns. We got to protect ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I think I told you that LeMay has a mark of bravado waved the Japanese and told them what 10 cities we were going to bomb in the next week. And so those 10 cities, they'd be waiting for us. But he was not on any of the missions, so he was safe.
What was the base like?
Well, it was the biggest airport in the world. It had 3 10,000-foot runways on a small island. The island was 3 miles by 7 miles long, and one whole end of it was turned into an air base. And they tried bombing it, but unsuccessfully. And
What was the name? The name of the base?
oh, that was North Field on Tinian Island. It was the biggest in the world at the time. And they had the 3 airstrips that the planes would take off of and fly off of there and hopefully come back to it, although many of them did not.
Why don't you tell them about being on the Enola Gay? You saw that airplane, didn't you? Tell them about the Enola Gay. You saw that plane.
Oh, Enola Gay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was parked on the Tinian, about from there to the outside wall of this complex, away from us. And it was so secret that you never heard a word of it. And we came back and we said, hey, look at that strange B-29. It only had 1 bomb bay. And so we walked over, nobody there. Walked over and climbed up in it, looked over everything. And next thing we knew, we turned around, there was a whole gang with Tommy guns aimed at us. I said, do you know where we're at? I said, yeah, do you know where we're at? And I pulled out my 45, which was standard issue for air crew. And I said, well, we don't mean anything. And I said, put up your damn guns and get the hell out of here. We're just looking the place over. We don't want to buy it or anything. We took a good look at it and then got out. And that was the Enola Gay. And the Enola Gay was supposed to be part of a close-in air-to-ground support for Okinawa invasion. And they didn't we did bomb Okinawa, but we didn't saturation bomb it. Because they were shooting down too many planes and too many Navy ships. They lost 80 Navy ships in one day on Okinawa. You'll never see that publicized any place because that is not in the interest of the people there. But the propaganda you hear is that you saved a million lives by dropping the bomb on Hiroshima, which is not true. It's all part of the reason for dropping the atomic bomb was to kill people. They had their toy, which they paid several billions of dollars for, and they went to see how many people they could kill. That's why they exploded it. I don't know, several thousand feet in the air above ground level, because that's where you get the most casualties. Because then when you explode it, then you got the fallout, the radiation, all of the deadly fallout from an atomic explosion. And they killed, estimated, 80,000 on Hiroshima, and about the same number on the Japanese arms complex.
Nagasaki.
My memory is really
Why don't you tell them about the name of your plane and some of the crew, pilots, guys that you knew?
well, the crew were all handpicked, and they were supposedly the best of the pack in the Air Force. And they were all great people, you know. They were, I was threatened with court martial because the captain, airplane commander, called us all together and threatened to court martial everybody on the plane. And I stood up for him. I said, you know, the reason you're sitting there now talking about this is because the gunners did not fail to do their job. They drove off the enemy, but we had no kills to recover because you had to see the plane crash or go down in flames. So he threatened to court-martial me. I said, go ahead. Never did though. And one guy that did court-martial had the guts to say that what we were doing, burning the innocent civilians on the ground, was necessary. And he objected to that and refused to do it. So they court-martialed him and sent him to Leavenworth, Kansas. And as far as I know, he's still there. Because once they send you there, you're never going to return.
What was the name of your plane?
But
The name of your plane.
Jake's joint.
How did you get that name?
Well, Jake Shadd was the airplane commander. And so he picked out the name, and every plane had a name, and ours was Jake's joint. He was a hell of a pilot, but he was kind of a glory hound, you know. He wanted credit for everything. He's dead now, but at the time he was an excellent pilot. And he was as responsible as me or anybody else. We all got back and shit. Things are standing nowadays. Three of us that are left in that original crew. I'm in contact with the tail gunner, and he keeps me informed on it. So I've been talking for hours now. Is there anything you'd like to ask?
Oh, what about the food?
Crew?
The food, what you ate. What you ate. Were the rations like?
All of the rations, they started out with refrigerated meals, you know, and the first time they used them, I wouldn't eat it because it was dog food. And the navigator ate it and got sick in the dog. And we had to stop over at Quadulate for the night for him to get better. And Quadulate was a small spit of land that you could throw a rock from one side to the other. I'm sure you've heard the name Quadulate. It was, at the time, very famous in the news, and cost a lot of men to take it. But Taker did, not knowing at the time that it was a stopover point for the B-29s going over. And we stopped there and spent the night, and then went on to North Field in the Marianas Islands. Marianas Islands is more well known for their part in the bombing of Japan than Tinian was. But quite Saipan was a more common name, so people remember that better.
What was the rest of the food like? What was the rest of the food like after refrigerated food? What else did they give you to eat
Oh, to eat.
after that? Yeah. What was it
They
like?
gave us sandwiches.
Just sandwiches?
And they were, best thing you could say for them, they were very forgettable.
Tell that story about he used to tell me this when I was a little kid, about the 13. It was his lucky number. Your lucky number was 13. What was that one? It all lined up, all the different 13s. Wasn't your
Oh.
plane number 13 to begin with?
The plane number was 13. Everybody was griping about it because 13 is an unlucky number. And I said, no, 13 is my lucky number. And I'm the one you've got to protect. Because on a mission, the bombardier was in complete charge of the bomb run through the intervalometer, which is the device that the bombs are dropped by, but signaled by the bombardier itself. The bombardier was in complete charge of the airplane, and the pilot just sat there with his hands crossed, and he was forbidden to touch the controls, put it on automatic pilot, and I'd control it through the intervalometer and the bomb signal. So I was literally in control of the airplane until I dropped the bombs.
Well, what about that 13 though? Was it 13th plane?
Oh.
Number 13, was it your 13th mission? What were all those 13s that lined up that time? I could almost tell it, but
Yeah. We were the first plane to fly a 13 missions without an abortion. An abortion was a mission that you had to cancel because of the engine failure and so forth. And so we were the first plane that survived 13 missions. And as a matter of fact, survived 29 missions. And the number we were supposed to have was 29. And they wanted to send us on our rest and recuperation after the 29th mission, but instead they sent us to Hawaii. As it turned out, for well over a month. And we spent a month in idyllic Hawaii in that time.
well, what was the other 13 though? There was the plane,
Oh,
it was number
plane was
13.
13.
On the 13th mission, it was the 13th of the month,
Yeah, I think,
and you ended up with 13 holes in the fuselage. It was all these 13s lined up. It's
yeah,
a fabulous
there was a
story.
whole series of them. Although 13 holes in the plane was a little on the unbelievable side. But I had to tailor the story on something that a young innocent mind could.
You mean you told me
digest.
that? You made that 13 holes up? You mean the bullet that you caught in your teeth wasn't probably really... He showed me a bullet once that he claimed he caught in his teeth, and I
I
believe
did
him.
not.
You did too.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up the interview?
Anything Marsh would like to add?
We'll keep it.
He wasn't alive at the time. The only thing I could say is that beautiful job that Megan did doesn't include my time in the National Guard. When I got out, I could make about $1,000 a year in the National Guard. So I was, let's see, company commander of an infantry company, and then I transferred from there to AAA, which is anti-aircraft company. I was commander of that, started it, and then I transferred to an engineer company and started that up until I retired from the Guard. So I put in quite a bit of time in the National Guard. And part of that montage, well, that's the size of the island, the top one, Japan. And below that is a picture of what we call landfall, when you're flying over 3,000-4,000 miles of ocean. And the first land solid land you see was Japan. And that's what that is, that semicircle is Japan itself. And I can't see all of them too well. No, you're not in the way. My eyes are not good enough to see all of them.
Michael, that video?
Okay, Megan Kelly did a report on Marshall and his exploits in World War II and afterwards in the National Guard. And she's got some of the pictures that she included in her presentation. In the upper left-hand corner there's a map of Japan, which Marshall bombed from the island of Tinian in the Marianas, which was 600 miles away? 800?
What, the distance from that?
Yeah.
Oh, that was, I think, about 30,000 miles in altitude.
Oh, okay. 30,000 feet in altitude. There's a picture in the lower left-hand corner of one of the bomb runs of Japan. In the center there's a bomb run going on, which he took a picture from the nose of the B-29. In the center is a picture of him as commander of his National Guard unit. On the right-hand side there's his National Guard unit crossing a bridge. And below that there's pictures of his bombing runs over Japan. Some of the formations. Him sitting on some live bombs. There's another B-29 over Mount Fuji, again taken from the nose of his bomber, and a couple pictures of some bombs and bomb crews, that type of thing. And